Castlevania 3! When we last spoke, I was reading to you from Bram Stoker's classic book, Dracula, upon which a lot of this game is borrowed. We're ready to go back to regular narration now because the game has gone from ridiculous to ridiculously challenging but engaging. You'll see right away the difference in this game. It went from ridiculous, which was the blocks stage, challenging but not appealing, not engaging, to, as we go through the rest of Block 7-5, Block 7-6, and even more Block 7-7, which includes the Level 7 boss, we find engaging, dynamic, insanely challenging, but fun, and it makes a person want to go back and play it again. Now, without this code, which again I use without shame or remorse, without this code, and I'm sure there's something down the bottom of the screen there, but I was so happy to get to that door, I had to rush to it so that I could get to the door and get past those blocks so that when I die, I start at 706 and not have to climb those blocks. I don't even care that I die right there because look where I start, back at 706. So it's challenging here, but not to an annoying, ridiculous level. Now, I need to get to those stairs up there, but I don't know that yet. So, on this run, you see Trevor jumping through. Now, this is some challenging platforming. This is engaging. It has the bats, which are irritating, not quite as much as the Medusa heads. But, alright, I made it to one side, and I go up to the other side. Other levels have done this before, so this is not without precedent. I've done this before. We have to go across the board in one set and back across. Now here I switch to Alucard, and I've figured out his turn into a bat move. Cool. It takes one heart to change, and then if you get hit or you push the button again, you change it back. Now, I've seen that, I just need to go back to those stairs, so suicide, and I'm back at the beginning of the level. I can switch to Alucard, get to the bat, and get right to those stairs to get up to the next one. Kind of cheap, but this game's cheap to me, and I'm going to exploit it. When we get up to 7-7, you'll see engaging and challenging level with a extremely difficult boss, what you would expect from a game like this. We're up to the next screen. Medusa heads. Annoying, challenging, but I want to get better. Those platforms, if you jump or fall onto them, they do that. They tip you down. So you have to walk across those platforms without jumping, without getting knocked into one of them. Now, thankfully, at the end of level 7, we are actually at the base of the castle, what's actually called Castlevania. We get to actually see the first room of the first Castlevania game. Now, Alucard can switch to the bat in midair, and on the block stage before, I didn't talk anything about it, but you saw how crazy it was if you watched even a little bit of it with me reading Dracula 2, because I wanted to document and put on internet paper that's what I did, that I played through that level. And I made it through that level without having to use save states. I just accepted all the deaths. Now I'll admit in a little bit here, I do revert to using some save states at level 7, just to save some kind of time to get some practice. And I can't imagine what this game would be like playing it straight up. The difficulty is just, it's incredible in this game going through this one. I would love to see someone who could do that on the NES without help, getting only 3 lives per continue. And if I didn't quite get there, I'd have to go back, not to the blocks if I lost game over on the continue, but I would have to go back to, and Alucard doesn't make it. I'd have to go back, if you remember, to the very first couple of rooms with the drippy slime that corrodes away the level blocks. So now we get to enjoy me working almost through 7-6. thank goodness I don't have to start at those blocks. I would have done anything to get away from those things. I'd like to, on this game, I would have liked not to have reverted to save states, but you'll see later on that they became necessary for me as we went on. And I also see why people mostly just post up their videos of their successes. So this will be going up in a post with the failures and the success in the same post, if not in the same video. Because I would be curious to see what the total time was of me playing the game. We looked into, talking about moving things, we looked into what costs would be, she did, for shipping things over. And you know, all the books that we have always talk about that shipping crate for folks who just, I can't live without my stuff. It looks like sending a box of stuff across the Atlantic is really expensive. So our plan right now is to bring everything that we're going to bring in a couple of suitcases on the plane. We may pay, you know, a fee for an extra bag or two, but that'll be it. That'll be all we bring. It's really exciting, but it means soon we'll have to start deciding what we want to do, what we want to bring, and we'll have to really pare it down, because there'll only be a few things we can bring along. Everything else we'll have to store or get rid of. That's why the brewing stuff couldn't come along. That one you saw Trevor got knocked back into one of the flippy platforms, but was able to jump off of it before it tipped him in, even though with the screen flash you didn't quite see it. Here we are at 7-7. This is where I started over a lot in the following videos. The boss is at the very top of this board. And this board is another one that's challenging and interesting and engaging, and you want to play it again. You want to play it again when you die. I found that was the case for me, but I just played it so many times that it was time to start save stating. Just for the best of everybody, in everyone's best interest. We have the screen scrolling upward. Some cracking blocks, some not cracking blocks, and Castlevania is famous on the upward scrolling screens for enemies appearing once the screen gets to a certain place. You notice that skeleton with the sword. This was a close call right here, because if you get too far into the bottom of the level, it's an automatic death. That you see at the top of the screen, the platforms are visible, and the platforms are actually jump onto-able. You can get on a platform before the enemy has appeared on it, which is very inconvenient when you're having to hurry up the level. There's a skeleton right above where he was. You see that jumped in just before I paused. That skeleton right there. That skeleton appears as the screen hits it. Sorry about the pause. This level had quite a few parts where I had to pause and later a little bit embarrassingly save states just to help on, and YouTube might not have enough storage space for all the video time I would need. So we're here to the Axe Knight, and here I thought again another fun, engaging, difficult, yes, but manageable, and with some practice you get to a point where you can get them without getting hit, as long as you're patient. And as you saw there, I accidentally discovered that there's some food right there, which is very handy just before a boss. So here we're obviously in the dungeon. That's right, I get a double shot here on this first one. This first of many runs at this boss. Earlier in the game, not in this run through, but earlier in the game, this does show up. That spirit occupies a coffin, and out comes a boss. In this case, mummies, which in another path of the game you do see right away. So I have a double shot axe, but I'll only have it for this first attempt. The mummies come out, they walk back and forth, and they shoot the wrappings at you. Seems like a pretty easy mechanic, but while there's two mummies on the screen, it's difficult to track the wrappings of each one, and Trevor is he's not very agile, so it's hard to do really quick duck jump whip movements at the same time. Okay, so down he goes, back to just the beginning of this stage, right before the scrolling difficulty here. Spiders we've seen, no problem. You'll see as we're practicing, we're getting better at the scrolling. Better at the scrolling. And this is where the screen starts to scroll up, also where the platform starts to break a little bit. I get my axe right there. Upgraded whip right there. Skeleton appears right there, so you can't hurry too much and you can't get too close because those skeletons have a long range on theirs. I think this is a well-designed level right here. It's very difficult with the boss, but I don't think unfairly so. It did take me using some save states, but with a lot more practice, I could have gotten it. Just would have taken too much time for me and for you. When you're sharing your entire gameplay experience publicly, as I've chosen to, you have to make certain decisions. And I have to blame emulator lag and the controller for a little bit. That was a slick move on only my second time up this board. We're back to the Axe Knight. Again, it just takes patience. You can throw his axe high or low, and if you hit the axe, you can destroy it before it gets to you. The problem is, if he throws the axe low, as he did there to hit me, Trevor cannot quickly duck and whip. The animation and the time it takes for him is too long to react that quickly, to duck, whip, or even to turn around quickly. I don't know, again, if that's better on the NES. It might not be, because Trevor is supposed to be this big slow ox. It's just the way he's designed. I thought that was cheap, getting hit by the wrappings. Anyway, on this one I thought I would try and see what was in that candle holder, since it's protected by the mummies. And it is heart. Thanks, guys. Whenever enemies disappear, you know you're in boss territory. Out come the mummies again. I only have 3 units of health. So on this one I just wanted to get a look at what the second form of the boss was going to be. And I didn't quite make it.